Okay, so I'm Margaret McBride, and you are?
My name's Seth Screamo.
Okay, so I'm interviewing you for the Wooster Blade, and this is being recorded right now.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Okay, so I'll just ask you, how long have you been a personal trainer?
So I've been in the fitness industry for the past 10 years. I went to Kent State University, and that's where I got my undergrad degree in exercise physiology, as well as I was in the Marine Corps for the past 10 years. Recently got out, finished up my reserve part of my contract. But the reason why I became a personal trainer is I always wanted to kind of develop my body. I had some self-image issues growing up, especially in high school. And I noticed that through my own changes, it felt great. And I wanted to have some other people go through those type of things as well. So in addition to my degree in, expertise in, military, being a United States Marine, I also got certified through American Council on Exercise. So I'm an ACE professional and I have a couple distinct, certifications like, sports conditioning specialist, fitness nutrition, as well as some, diabetic coaching and things like that. So I've been doing a hybrid system of online and in-person training for the past going on 5 years now. So pre-COVID, I went through John Goodman's online personal training academy and learned all the systems there and been implementing it from there. So, with my experience of, I've worked with over 10,000 clients and counting in person, online. So, definitely something that if I didn't like doing, I still wouldn't be doing it. That's for sure. So,
Yeah. Okay, so to start the questions that I sent you, so the first one, what are some common nutritional deficiencies in student athletes?
So most of the time when it comes to, nutritional deficiencies, a lot of it kind of boils down into their kind of regular dietary intake. So some of the big ticket items that I always see is iron, some calcium, vitamin D, some B vitamins, and then protein. Many of the student athletes that I come in contact with, especially, females, they experience a lot of iron deficiencies, which can lead to a lot of fatigue and, reduced performance. And
Mhm.
calcium and vitamin D. We live in Ohio, and when it comes in the winter and all that stuff, we don't get that vitamin D that we normally get in the summertime. So having some insufficient intake of these things is going to affect your bone health. Which can prevent some stress factors and things like that. So that's why a lot of times I see a lot of, like, for instance, basketball players, they'll have a stress fracture in their body because they're not used to getting a lot of those extra, nutrients, and vitamin D and calcium, all that stuff that we're naturally going to be getting the vitamin D from the sun. So.
Mhm. Okay. And then the second question, how can high school student athletes make sure they're meeting their nutritional needs while attending school?
So I mean, the big thing is just eating a balanced meal. I think that a lot of high school athletes they kind of go on this real strict regimen sometimes, and they feel like they need to, like, cut a bunch of weight and stuff like that. But in reality, if they just follow a simple, balanced diet, and adding in, maybe a good multivitamin, you're going to cover most of your bases. But a big thing with that is just making sure you get enough fruits and vegetables. It's where you're going to get a lot of your minerals and vitamins, as well as the adequate amount of protein intake. So before you get into any supplements and stuff like that, the best thing that you can do is eat food. Food is the best thing for the human body. That's what we were used to running on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So if you can't focus on that first, then it doesn't matter what else you're going to put in your body. You're always going to be lacking in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm. Okay. And then to focus in on some of those foods, what foods should athletes eat before and after workouts?
So before your workouts, right, you want to have enough energy to, it's like it's your job, right? You're there to perform, and so you want to give your body enough energy to do that. And the body's primary source is carbohydrates. So you want to have some, you know, lower glycemic type of carbs. So basically what that means is things that are gonna we're gonna slowly digest throughout the day. So about an hour and a half beforehand, you want to have like some fruits, maybe some oatmeal, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, something like that that you're going to have in your system that you can sustain. And then, maybe a little bit of protein, depending on what, athletic event you're doing. So like if you're, a football player that has off-season lifting, having those, that good meal before you go lift is going to be critical for you to get the most out of your, training. But, if you're a swimmer, for instance, right, you don't want to have a huge, heavy meal beforehand. You want to have something simple where you can get a pretty good source of carbohydrates like fruit. The fructose in that is going to help. It's going to make you feel better in terms of, all the extra nutrients and vitamins that you're going to have beforehand, as well as that's going to help kind of hydrate you as well. I think, utilizing, fruit and veggies is a great way to, add in some extra water, because I think most people, not just high school athletes, but everyone in general could drink a little bit more water, and you can see a lot more benefits from that.
Okay. And then one extra thing for question 4, are there benefits of eating additional protein in the forms of bars and powders?
So it's kind of double-edged sword. Like if you're someone that can't like get like a good meal afterwards or throughout the day, right? There's this thing called nutrient timing. And some people, it's the omnis dominus that you have to do it. You have to have something right after your workout. But in reality, if most people focus on getting good quality sources of protein, which are called complete protein sources, and you're going to get, most of your bases covered. You don't need to eat like a large amount of protein, because basically what that is it's picture you have Legos, right? You have these building blocks. That's what the protein breaks down into, is these amino acids, and you want to structure your body in a way to where it's going to be sustainable. So if you're someone that can't have a good meal, supplementing with a protein or a shake might be beneficial for you. But in the long run, if you're not focusing on those good quality sources of nutrient in terms of food, then that's something you need to make sure that you focus on. So getting a good quality meal is critical for you to sustain those results. But if it's something that's going to tie you over, then that would be good for something in a quick pinch.
Okay. And then would you recommend any supplements for high school athletes?
When it comes to supplements, first thing you need to do is make sure that you talk to your physician or doctor or someone that can give you the best recommendations. If you're not eating enough, foods, kind of what I talked about earlier in this interview, is like you want to make sure you're covering most of your bases by having good, well-balanced meals, right? Good, well-balanced diet. The first thing that would pop to my mind before you talk about any like whey protein or any of those other things out there is getting a good multivitamin in. There's a lot of great ones out there. A lot of them are real cost effective as well. And then, from there, depending on what your sport is, you might need some other things that might help you. But in the long run, if you're not eating a well-balanced diet, I would focus on that first before you start adding in any supplements. So.
Okay. And then we talked earlier about iron deficiencies. So have you ever trained someone with an iron deficiency, and how did you adjust their training plan from other clients?
Yes, actually, growing up, I had an iron deficiency. So like best way for you to check that is check underneath your eyelid so you can see that, right? If you have a little white there, then that means you're considered lower on iron, right? So a big thing with that is making sure that you have a well-balanced meal. A lot of this stuff is kind of coming full circle, because if you focus on it first, all the other troubles, all that stuff will come up to where like it's not a problem anymore. But a big thing with that is anytime you have low iron, it binds to your blood and it helps carry oxygen into your system, right? So it's a binding agent in a simple form to talk about it. And so you're gonna feel a little bit more fatigued if you don't have a lot of iron in your system. And so you want to make sure you have, you're eating more iron-rich foods, and then you can talk to, a doctor or physician about adding in a supplement for that. But when you do have an iron, deficiency, you need to monitor the workouts, make sure that you're under the right supervision of someone that can see where you're at. That way, if there is any issues, to where like your energy levels are too low and you might compromise yourself, for instance, if you're doing like, a real explosive lift, like a clean or a squat or a deadlift, and your iron's low, you may lose your form, and that could cause more injuries, because you're more sleepy, right? So,
Mhm.
but you want to make sure you coordinate all this stuff with a health professional. If they deem that you need an iron supplement, they're going to give you a great recommendation.
Mhm. Okay. And then just like a final question, and have you ever taken any supplements for your sports health? And would you have any like specific advice for any like winter athletes?
Yes. So I am a firm believer on taking a multivitamin. And then for me, right, I'm 30 plus years old now. Having some good, omega 3s, omega 6s, to help with joint and things like that. And it's going to help you if you set those habits now, in terms of your nutrient and having good, well balanced meals, because you won't have to rely on these supplements. You won't have to rely on a whey protein powder. There's enough food out there that you can, have that be part of your meal, as well as, supplementing with a good multivitamin or maybe a fish oil supplement. If you're someone that has, if you're a runner, for instance, you're having this constant pounding on your knees, you need to make sure you take care of your joints and ligaments, especially at the early age. Because the last thing we want is, a 14-year-old that's running cross country and then get to college and they have to have knee replacement surgery because they've been, running, thousands and thousands of miles each year, right? And the same is true of someone that plays football. It's a very, physical sport, and if you don't take the wear tear into consideration by doing proper warm-ups, stretching, cool downs, as well as nutrient, having a good multivitamin, having good well balanced meals where you're recovering properly, is key for success. So.
Okay. Yep. So that is the end of all of the questions I sent you. So do
Okay.
you have anything else that you would like to talk about maybe or add?
Yeah. So, I've helped out the Wooster High School freshman team this past year, and we did some conditioning type of things, and I created a bunch of different information for them. And my goal is to be a source of information for any of the coaches out there, as well as anyone that is interested in developing their body and becoming better. So I'm going to be sending you like my contact information, as well as I do have
Mhm.
another book coming out. I told you before that I have 3 books that are on Amazon that are bestsellers. I have another one coming out that's called, Next Level Athlete, and I'll send you all the things for that. Just
Okay.
waiting on some format stuff to submit that. And there's
Mhm.
going to be a program with it as well. So
Okay. Great.
sweets. Stop recording.